Sleep Token's ubiquitous internet buzz and history-making Billboard achievements are being touted as a win for metal. But if metal has to reconfigure itself into Benson Boone with a Spirit Halloween gift card in order to reassert its commercial authority, then maybe it's better off toiling away in basements. At least there it can retain its dignity. Hello and welcome back to PremoDonnas. I am Emperiam.
And I'm Mishka.
And I'm really excited for this episode because my whole life, I guess, has been Sleep Token and even in Arcadia. And I lightly forced Mishka to listen to Sleep Token. But listen, it was good. Okay, it was worth it. It was like it's for the plot. It's for the lore, and I think it's a really important introduction. And it was a good album to be introduced to, in my opinion.
It was so good, honestly. I was really impressed.
I know. So we'll get to your full review and my kind of thoughts behind it afterwards. But there are some little music news updates on both the pop and alternative sides.
Okay, so a couple of songs that actually came out today. Or, well, not songs, sorry. Musical projects, let's say. So, for all of the Rihanna fans, the Riri fans, she had a new song that came out today as part of the Smurfs movie soundtrack. It's called Friend of Mine. And this is the first song she's released since the Wakanda Forever soundtrack.
Girly is just in it for the movie bags. And I appreciate that for her.
And you know what? I also, I appreciate that she's doing, because she's also a character in the Smurfs film, I guess. She, does voice acting for it. And, she's pregnant. And so to, record a song as well as voice act an entire movie while also being pregnant, that's too much work. I wouldn't ever want to do that.
She's doing the most, and that's why we love her.
Yeah, so apparently there's been little rumors and rumblings that she is working on another studio album because she hasn't released a studio album since I believe it was Twins Auntie. So it's been a hot minute. So there's that came out today, Friday, May 16th. So it's out now. Go listen to it. Also today, and I thought this was super relevant to you because, I know you're a huge fan. An album called Avicii Forever, a new compilation album drops today as well. The album features 2 unreleased songs, Let's Ride Away and Forever Years. Though I was doing some digging on Reddit and people are kind of frustrated because apparently Avicii has a lot of unreleased music and it's leaked over the years, kind of slowly.
Mm-hmm.
Songs like Enough Is Enough and Our Love, which are leaked. You can find them on YouTube, you can find them on SoundCloud, things like that. They're not included on the album, even though they've leaked and they're full mastered version leaks kind of a thing. So people are like, that's such a great song. Why aren't you releasing it? And it turns out that a longtime Avicii collaborator named Sandro helped produce a lot of these songs. And he's actually been the reason that they haven't come out. He's prevented the release out of respect for Tim, who is Avicii, because he's passed away, as we know.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a quote from this Sandro guy. He says, "A lot of you probably wonder why those songs never came out. And the truth is that I don't want to release any of those songs without Tim being here. He's the only one who knew when his songs were finished, and I do and continue to respect that." So, on one hand, because, I like Avicii. Everybody knows
Love Avicii.
Love Avicii. I remember the full wall poster you had of him. Do you still have that, or did you get rid of it?
Should I tell the story?
Tell the story.
Okay. It's not much of a story. I'll make it short. But at Veld, I think the first year, so I don't know, 2014, there was, I don't even know what size it would have been. It was a banner with grommets. It was that big. And it was out of this weatherproof material, but it was a giant Avicii poster saying he's coming in the next summer or something. And if there's one thing about me after I've had a few too many drinks is that I get a little klepto. So I thought in my klepto brain that this Avicii poster should belong in my house. And I somehow got it off the zip ties with my drunken girl strength and dragged it with me into the Uber. And I had it hanging on my wall. And it took up the entirety of the wall. This thing was
a wall
fucking
mural.
Huge. It was over 6 feet long.
Yeah,
it was massive. And then I think I kept it in our garage for a little bit, and then I I think I just threw it out or gave it away. But the memories that it held for me, I was a huge Avicii fan. He was it for me. I had this connection with him. I don't know what it was. Never met him, never will, but the Avicii documentary made me cry. All of them did. 'Cause he
Yeah,
just was
his
so
story's kinda sad.
talented. Yeah. And he just loved music. He loved doing these things, and he loved, like, breaking the barriers. And when he first did Wake Me Up, when he was, like, trying to integrate country and new genres into the EDM space, like, everybody was like, "What the fuck is this? This is stupid, blah, blah, blah." And then years later, they were like, "Oh, hold up, no, that was actually some dope shit." And he was like, "Yeah, duh." And then he died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Taken
so
too soon. So,
taken way too soon.
do you think that it's, like, good of the Sandro guy to, like, prevent the release of this of music?
100%. Like, as much as I am an Avicii fan, I feel like he's right. You know, those T Tim the person who should have the final say on who gets to release these songs is Tim, and he's not here. So out of respect, leave
Even
them.
though they've already leaked and, like, in
Yeah,
high quality.
yeah. Because like, what?
That doesn't change things.
Then they're gonna release them, and then what, the family or the record label or, like, is gonna, like, get the money from that? Because it'll just end up boiling down to money, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I think it's a very noble thing for this Sandro person to do. So, like,
100.
good on him. The last thing I have for you, so Miley Cyrus's new album, Something Beautiful, is slated to drop on May 30th. Very excited.
Very soon.
However, I have some background tea for you.
Love
So
background tea.
she recently held a like backyard listening party for like some of her like special fans kind of a thing. And fans that attended the private listening party describe it as a very experimental album. The currently available songs point like to a different picture. Like if you listen to the songs she's released so far as singles,
Mhm.
like End of the World, for example, it's very listenable. It's very radio friendly. It's like a feel goods kind of song. But people are saying that the album actually is a lot different to that. So one commenter said, the Miley and her dead pets sound and energy is not present on the album, but it does feature a handful of like upbeat, danceable tracks. Whereas the
Sorry,
first couple
pause.
songs were more,
Did you say dead pets?
yeah, you don't know that
What
album by
does
Miley?
that mean?
It's right after the Bangers album, and it's the name of the album, Miley and Her Dead Pets, because she wrote all the songs about pets of hers that have passed away.
Well, I thank you. Yes. Thank you, Captain Obvious. I
It
did not
was
know that that was one of her albums.
it
What
was, like,
song
right
would I
after the
know
We
that was
Can't
off of it?
Stop. It was right after the We Can't Stop, and, like, it wasn't very critically acclaimed, and it was a very different sound for Miley, but I think it was part of that, like, transitioning away from Disney kind of rebellious thing she did.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Sorry,
anyways,
continue. I was just like,
so yeah, so people are saying that the rest of the album has a lot of danceability to it, but that it's a little bit more experimental sonically, which I think is really interesting. So I'm excited for this album, May
yeah.
30th.
At
But
this
yeah,
point in her musical career, she can do whatever she wants.
she's totally set herself as like she's an icon.
Yeah. Do it. Do the
The
experimental
Grammys
shit.
performance,
Yeah.
like done. I was done. It was set in stone. But yeah, those are my three little pieces of news for this week.
Okay, well, my one piece of news is sad. Nobody died, but it is a little bit sad.
Okay.
I Prevail's lead vocalist, Brian Burkheiser, has unfortunately had to step away from the band due to his Eagle syndrome, which is a rare condition caused by an elongated styloid process which leads to chronic neck and throat pain. He's been battling these symptoms for years, describing them as debilitating. The co-vocalist Eric will take over as frontman, backed up by Dylan. And I am sad about this because I found I Prevail actually through their Taylor Swift covers. So they did Blank Space, which was fucking amazing. I love Pop Goes Punk covers. That's just like,
I love them too.
it speaks to the dichotomy of me as a human. So I found I Prevail's original songs through listening to their Taylor Swift covers. That sounds like Gasoline, Hurricane, things like that. So I'm wishing him the best. It must be really hard to have built this band up for 10 years and then split from it from something that you can't control and just something that's been like giving
Yeah.
you pain, chronic pain for years. So I'm sad to hear it, but I'm happy that, like, he didn't die. We're
Well,
still
yeah.
alive. I think they just had a baby. They've got, like, things kinda going on in their life, but we will miss him.
Maybe he'll still
That
be
makes it
able
sound
to
like he's dead.
do. Yeah, he's not dead.
He's
But
not dead. I don't know why I said
maybe
that.
maybe he'll be like, if he steps away from like touring and live performance and stuff, maybe he'll still be able to sing like on the actual albums.
Yeah, I mean, the band released a statement saying that they're kind of parting ways, so
Like if they're breaking up then?
the band's not breaking up. No, they're just having
Okay.
to make some changes to the band members because of this, and it's really sad, but that was, like, the biggest piece that came across my feed that I was like, "Oh, Brian." So, we're wishing you the best too in all of your things.
Yeah, good luck, Brian. Hopefully things improve. That's unfortunate. Well,
I
thanks for
know.
that depressing note. Anything else?
No, I am on the edge of my seat here because I wanna hear about your experience listening to Sleep Token, and I wanna preface that you have never heard Sleep Token before, even in Arcadia.
Yeah, no, literally this was the first time I'd ever listened to them ever.
Okay.
And it was I was surprised because like you obviously we share music all the time between the two of us. And
Mhm.
usually it's me sending you gay ass pop music.
And I love it. I live for it.
And usually it's you sending me something that's like either extremely emo or something that's really, really heavy, which like I don't mind. I like a little, a little bit of edginess, obviously. And so when you were really ranting and raving about this album, I was like, okay, I'll give it a solid chance and like really listen to it. And I did. You told me to sit down and like read the lyrics as they're singing and stuff. And
Mhm.
so I did that. I did
Good.
that. I didn't get to listen to every single song on the album because they're really fucking long, some of them. So yeah, I have a
So
couple ones that
you
stood
did
out
not
to
do your
me.
homework is what I'm
I
hearing.
didn't do all of my homework, but I
You did
did
not
some of
finish
the
the
homework.
assignment. Okay, alright, fine.
Sorry. But yeah, no, I started near the beginning of the album with Emergence.
Mhm.
It's really cinematic. It immediately, like the very first thing that stood out to me was the song establishes that the vocalist is really, really a strong singer. It's very pretty.
Mhm.
He's singing kind of almost like not in a whisper, but it's like lighter, prettier singing, but it still showcases strength. If you know what I'm trying to say there. With
Mhm.
that. And like what I gathered as the song went on is that whoever is doing the producing or the mixing or what have you, whatever it is, the composition of the song, they do a very good job of tastefully blending genres together. It felt natural for the various things to change in the song. And it didn't feel like jarring or off-putting in any way. You know how sometimes when you do genre merges, it's too dramatic.
Yeah, or it's too forced.
Yeah, it's a really nice blending of the genres, and I also found that they blended digital and analog instruments together really nicely.
Mhm.
There was some keys, some synths, a couple pads, things like that in there, which are definitely digital. And then there was also like real kit drums and an actual guitar riff and things like that. And I thought that that was really nice. They did it very tastefully.
Can I ask what your expectations were before listening to this album, like, just based on what I had told you about them?
Well, like you kind of described in the past, their their kind of not their lore, but the kind of theatrical aspect of what they do in that
Mhm.
they're like aliens, like demon aliens from another realm kind of thing. And obviously like from the visuals that I've seen of the band here and there, I definitely gathered that. But I think the sonically the audio matches that so well.
Yeah,
They really sat down and figured out like what's our brand and now how do we make the music reflect that brand.
which is so hard to fucking do, and why a lot of bands, I think, like, don't even try. Not that you need it, but it just enhances, in my opinion.
It absolutely enhances, and I don't yeah, I agree with you, like, not everybody has to have it, like, let's be honest, like, all the pop girlies are out doing their pop girly thing, and that's okay,
Mhm.
right?
There's, like, a difference, though, between, like, Sabrina Carpenter and Chapel Roan. Like, they all it's just branding. It's just exaggerated
Yeah.
branding.
Yeah, and, like, I feel like a good example of an artist who maybe is, like, from a more pop, hyper pop kind of side of things that maybe has achieved that as well would have been Charlie XCX with Brat. The
Mm.
visuals and the music seem to go together very well, in my opinion. But yeah, that's just kind of my, like, first off on Emergence. And then I moved to Past Self, which is a song right after it. I've heard that this song is controversial among the fan base. Is that the case?
Is it? Why?
That's what I've heard. I've heard that people think it's too pop.
So?
You not
Who
I don't
cares?
this is just what the internet has told me. But yeah, I guess there's a lot of debate on whether or not it's too pop.
Go fuck yourself. Who le what are you, the pop police? Get
Perhaps they are. But I don't agree that it's too pop, but I agree that it definitely falls into the realm of pop. It's super fucking catchy.
Mhm.
I love the Zelda Fairy Fountain reference. That's really
Immediately when
cool.
I heard it, I was like, "This is the Fairy Fountain song." If there's one thing about me,
Yeah.
I fucking pick up on patterns in music, and I'll touch on that later, but I wanna hear more from you.
It's very pop, it's very earwormy. It's likely a radio song. Like, it sounds like a song that would be, like, on contemporary modern radio.
Mm.
I swear to God, and I know you already said this is not the case, but I'm still gonna swear on it. The vocal melody, so not the melody of the twinkling of the Zelda Fairy Fountain song, but
Mhm.
the melody of the words of the vocals. I swear to God, it's interpolating an R&B pop kind of song from, like, the late '90s, early 2000s, and I cannot for the life of me figure out which one it is, but when I do, I swear.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, it's very possible. I will admit that I'm wrong if it happens to be the case, but I couldn't think of what it was that you were thinking of.
It's the chorus bit. It sounds so familiar to me for some reason, and I couldn't
Mm.
put my finger on it, but I did do some searching online to see if anyone else felt this way, and seemingly I am the only one. So, perhaps I'm just crazy, and I'm just, like, making connections that don't exist,
It's
but
possible.
yeah, I enjoyed the song though overall. It was really fun. It definitely has, like, a groove to it.
Mhm.
I also listen to
Okay.
Caramel?
He says caramel, I think.
Right,
Yeah, he says caramel.
right.
I had to,
I
like,
love how
sing
you,
it to
like,
make
know it.
sure.
You have it know it off by heart already.
Girl, that's all I've been
First thing
fucking listening to. Bad.
and valid, I see why. I would say the writing in this song is particularly beautiful. It's emotionally deep, but without sounding whiny, which is nice because I
I like
think
how
that's
it
a
yeah.
trend, right? Like an artist that takes themselves too seriously, but then it comes off as like whiny.
Mhm.
The bridge and the screaming was super fucking intense. Like, it's a shift in the song, and I was not 100% ready for it, but then again, even going back, it's tasteful. It's not so jarring that it's like, "Oh
Mhm.
god," it feels like it should be there.
Yeah. It's like
So,
an emotion release because he's, like, talking about how people are shouting his real name at him when he's trying to perform, and it's like, "Guess that's what I get for trying to hide in the limelight." I'm like, he's breaking the fourth wall, and it's
yeah,
amazing.
it's also self-aware,
Yeah.
which I
Without
think
being
helps
whiny, which
add
he
to it.
said. Yeah.
Yeah, it almost feels like, for lack of a better way of describing it, it feels like a mature version of, like, emo music in that way. Do you know what I'm saying? In that it's emotionally deep, but it's not obnoxious or annoying.
What are you trying to say?
I'm trying to say that sometimes emo scene music can be obnoxious and whiny,
I don't know
but
what the
this is
fuck I
not.
don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I've never heard a whiny emo song in my whole entire life.
Okay, okay.
But yeah, I yeah, because it's coming from that, like, raw emotional place. Yeah, okay. I'll let you
Yeah,
have it. I'll let you have it.
even in Arcadia, first of all,
Yeah.
epic anthem. The singer, I've 'cause this is what I've noticed about the singer.
The singer
He
hold on. The singer's name? Vessel. You must refer to him as
like a
Vessel.
blood vessel?
Yeah. Well, no, like a vessel, like a vehicle.
We'll take it there, whatever, fine. But yeah, even in Arcadia, Epic Anthem, I've noticed in this song in particular, I noticed it in other songs too, but this song, it really stood out to me. Vessel modulates their voice in interesting ways that are kind of unexpected,
Like
but
the
are
growl?
refreshing.
Like the growl of
No, not so
like
much the growl, like the way they pronounce words, and you can tell that they're how do I describe this? They're changing the shape of their mouth in order to get a certain sound out of their voice.
yes,
It's very intentional.
but maybe because he's British?
No, 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 no. It's not
Okay.
like it's not that. It's like you can notice that he's like lowering his tongue down on his palate to create the cavity space in his mouth to change the way that the vocal cords sound like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
vocal technique, but it's something that like you have to be very skilled to do it properly and stay on key. So that's really interesting to me. I thought that was refreshing. I also really liked that towards the ending parts of the song, there's this introduction of a classical instrument. I believe it's a violin or perhaps a cello.
Mhm, mhm.
And then they add in the effects like rain and maybe it's record static or something like that. But it gives this kind of texture to the whole thing that really contributes to that cinematic experience, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's that one. And then the last one I kind of wrote notes on.
Damocles. Yeah, it's Damocles.
Damocles?
I think
Okay,
it's
because
biblical. It
it
just
is
means biblical.
it might be biblical, it also could be, like, in reference to, like, Greek mythology or Roman mythology or something like that.
True, true.
This song was beautiful.
Mhm.
Again, emotionally deep, but refreshingly self-aware, and it's really deep and serious, but it feels authentic and also and I hope this isn't taken the wrong way, Vessel, but it's authentic and it's almost effortless in a way. Like this person, it sounds like they're doing vocal gymnastics to kind of create the sound that they want, which is something that requires a lot of skill. But
Mhm.
to the listener, it comes off as easy and not
And
forced.
that's also what I liked about it too, is, like, all of these other songs, like you mentioned, have this, like, cinematic, very textured feel to it, and Damocles has a little bit of that as well, but it's very, like, stripped back, you know, it's a little bit more raw, it's less produced, which is kind of a nice difference to hear on the album that's very produced, in a good way.
Yeah, no, and that I think when we say very produced in this instance,
It's
we're
layered.
talking about like it's layered and there's intention behind all of the choices. Whereas, like, when you listen to a modern pop song, the singer might not really have that much input into like what it sounds like at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
So your final-ish thoughts on the album was you liked it?
I really liked it.
Okay.
It was emotionally deep but self-aware. It had
Mhm.
a certain level of maturity, even though it was still like I'm grieving over something in a way. Does
Mm.
that make sense?
So you didn't listen to Jessamine?
I did listen to it, but I didn't make notes and I don't
Oh,
remember.
that's okay, because that was, like, the super breakup-y one.
I did listen to that one, and it made me feel things. It made me feel a little sad.
Yeah.
That's probably why I didn't make notes about it because I was like, "Oh, this one's sad."
Oh, I don't like this one, yeah.
But even then, even if it was sad, it was also still very, very easy to listen to and very pretty.
So what would you rate it out of 5 stars?
Oh my gosh, as, like, not being a fan, not knowing anything about them,
Yeah.
I think this is, like, a really solid album. I think this they did a really good job with it. I bet they spent fucking hours on it.
Mhm.
So, like, I appreciate an artist that tries hard, and I think that's something that maybe the younger generation, they don't wanna see, like, they wanna see you trying hard, they don't wanna see you want it. This
Right.
doesn't necessarily feel like they're, like, striving to want it, but it feels like they put a lot of energy and time and talent into it, which I personally respect. So, I would give it out of 5.
Mhm.
I think I would give it a 4, 4 stars out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah,
What if I told
easy.
you that, a reviewer from Pitchfork gave it a 2.3?
Out of 5?
I don't know, either out of 5 or out of 10. I'm gonna assume out of 5 to make it easy. Either way.
Well, I don't agree with that. That's a little fucked up.
So I'm gonna read you an excerpt and then kind of go into, like, a mini rant, and I want to say right off the bat, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Totally. This is mine.
Everyone's entitled to an opinion, but doesn't always mean your opinion's right.
No, exactly, exactly. So here's I think it's like one of the last kind of paragraphs from this Pitchfork, even in Arcadia review. Sleep Token's ubiquitous internet buzz and history-making Billboard achievements are being touted as a win for metal. But if metal has to reconfigure itself into Benson Boone with a Spirit Halloween gift card in order to reassert its commercial authority, then maybe it's better off toiling away in basements. At least there it can retain its dignity. First off,
She came for the girls. She came.
she threw some shade, and it is a he. To me, immediately gives the thickest neckbeard energy.
It does.
It gives very, "Hello, princess. Hello, princess." You know?
The fuck is
Haven't you
that?
seen those TikToks of the guy with, like, the
No.
fedora? God, that reference is wasted on you. Hopefully some of the
Send them to
listeners
me.
Okay. Once I send them to you, you're gonna be like, "Oh my fucking god, what is this?" Anyway, the energy that was kind of given from that thing was a little bit funny, but definitely gives basement dweller energy. I think it's people like
Yeah.
this that are stuck in a box of, like, what metal should sound like, and I think Sleep Token have earned so many of these achievements and accolades because they break genre barriers. That review was a lot of words when he could have just been like, "I don't like it because it's popular." Yeah, that's literally what he's saying. I don't think the band needs masks or body paint to be a great band. You know, the visual component is an embellishment, not a smokescreen.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know
agree
why
with
I took
you.
this review so personally. I'm not even in the fucking band, but I read it and I was like, which I'm assuming is the exact reaction that he wanted. But anyways,
How long ago was this review released?
quite recently, I think like the 13th of May. If no, I don't know, whenever the album came out. It also sounds like they only listened to it once and not very thoroughly, and it also sounds like you did not go through some crazy life transitioning things, and you can't relate to the subject matter in the album. It just seems like you don't get the art. Anyway.
It's giving I've never had a relationship and thus never lost a relationship.
Well, it's giving like Metallica is the best metal band to ever exist, and no one can ever be metal unless it's Metallica. It just like it's so silly. I think anytime metal or people kind of adjacent to the metal or metalcore, whatever, try to experiment with different sounds or try to add maybe pop elements, hooks, catchy guitar riffs, whatever to their stuff, it's automatically minimized and
Yeah.
discounted because like it's pop music. Get up pop music.
I think that's maybe like what I was taught, like the comments I saw about the song Past Self being too pop. I feel like that was the mindset that those kind of comments were coming from,
Mhm.
like in the same space.
But it's like I don't care about that kind of stuff. I've never really cared about that. I think because I have been such open to all genres and like excited to hear what someone can come up with, you know, the same everybody's working with the same amount of notes, but this is how they make it different. So I don't like it when it's like, this is not this, this is not this. It's like, shut up. Who cares? It's music and it's great. It's giving tired, it's giving neckbeard, it's giving name 3 songs, it's giving I just think that you need to maybe not be a music critic. But you know what? That's okay. There is space for all opinions, but just know that I think yours
Is
is
there
wrong.
though? That's because like that's a really shitty rating from like a large publication.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it was meant to be rage bait, and it's working because we're talking about it. So, I guess fedora's off to you, but I don't agree with it at all, and I think that's
Yeah,
fine.
I don't agree either. I don't think that they reduced their artistry by going or leaning towards something that maybe is a little bit more poppy or has a little bit more like general appeal. I agree with you in the sense that like when someone is playing with the genres of music and trying to mesh them and mix them, that's how we get new genres,
Yeah,
right?
That's the fun.
So it's the evolution of music throughout history and into the future. Like that's how we do.
And
So
it's always, like, the people who are trying to break these new grounds, like Avicii, like we were just talking about, how he tried to infuse that kind of country sound into the EDM space, and at the time, everyone was like, "Fuck this, ew, what is this? Don't like it," and then years later, they're like, "Oh, wait, no, he had something here. He was an innovator, you know, he was a pioneer of this genre," and I think the same thing is kinda happening with metal, but people just don't like it because it's kind of walking away from what they know or what they think of metal, in my opinion.
yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. I feel like maybe this is a bad example. I feel like it's actually okay, but it reminds me not sonically in any way, but the same issue of like blending genres kind of a thing. It reminds me of The Weeknd's more pop albums like Starboy.
Mm.
It's rap music, but mixed with more pop sensibilities, pop hooks, things like that. But it doesn't change the fact that it's still in the like rap kind of category. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
No, you don't. You don't.
Well, people are basically just mad that it sounds different than the rap that they're used to or, you know, that he's better than Dra or that he's way better than Drake.
Okay, yeah, because that's a fact.
I
Sorry,
don't I
Drake.
yeah, we're from Toronto, but we are not Drake fans. I'm not sorry. I have nothing to be
Honestly,
sorry about.
you know what it is? Okay, so for anyone who's listening who's not from Canada, in Canada, we have some laws around media. And in order for certain media companies, you know, radio stations, television producers, things like that, in order for them to receive a certain amount of funding from the government to like create their thing, they have to play a certain amount of Canadian music
Mhm.
or use a certain amount of Canadian created art in their work in order to qualify. So when Drake started from the bottom, and what was his other song?
Hotline
Hotline
Bling?
Bling. Yeah. When those songs were like popping off everywhere, they were popping off here even that much more because they qualified the radio stations to like get that funding. So they played it over and fucking over. And
It
I'm
was like
over
every
it.
12th song on the radio was Hotline Bling.
It was
It was really bad for a while.
inescapable.
Yeah, like,
Inescapable.
anywhere you went into Shoppers Drug Mart, you went into the grocery store, you were just in your car, any radio like, you would flip to it, it'd be fucking Hotline Bling, Hotline Bling, Hotline Bling. There was just no rest
Yeah,
from
you
Hotline
literally
Bling.
would change the channel and it would still be Hotline Bling.
Yeah, you could not escape it.
So yeah. So that's why, you know, we're over Drake. I'm sorry. Also, Kendrick Lamar killed him. Literally slayed him. He's dead.
Absolutely.
Deceased.
Oh my god, there's no way that he can fucking come back from that, and I love that he did that. I love that he did that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of iconic. So, sorry.
Before we Before we close the book on this sleep token thing, I have some things that I wanted to say about it, things that I noticed being a sleep token fan for longer than you.
Okay,
'Cause I
go off, girl.
I've, like, heard, like, different songs from them and you haven't, so I haven't actually listened to the whole, discography of Sleep Token, but there are some, like, standout albums for me. But when I was listening to Even in Arcadia, I have that little pattern recognition thing. It's one of my traits that I really like about myself, actually, is to be honest, that I can recognize patterns in music. But I know, right? I know I keep talking about Jessamine.
Superpower.
It would be. If I had a superpower, it would be that. It would be useful to absolutely fucking no one, but it would be a fun little thing to have, and it's a party trick that I can now use in podcast form. But
True. Okay,
I
give it
could
to
often
me.
pick well, shut up so I can talk.
Wow, she's fiery today. Okay.
I know, sorry. Okay. I could often pick out parts in songs like Jessamine and Dangerous where it felt like they were referencing songs off of previous albums. And if you listen closely,
Okay.
you can hear other songs like Jaws and Euclid. Euclid. I think that's how you say it. Yeah, you can hear Jaws and Euclid in Jess and Vor in Dangerous. So I'm gonna try to sing it. Don't be mad at me. So it's like, do you remember me? Do 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 when the rain gathered. And then it's what might be good for your heart might not be good for my head. Right? It's the same thing. It's referencing back and forth.
So it's
And
an interpolation of the melody.
but like of their own stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay,
And
that's
it's so
cool.
it, like, happened also, sorry for my singing. I know I was, like, super off key. Doesn't matter.
No,
I needed
you were actually not that bad.
I needed to give you, like, audio reference without actually showing you the audio, but you go back and listen and you'll definitely hear it. So, I noticed those kind of right off the bat, and I can't confirm if it's on purpose, but to me, it feels like the band is kinda saying, like, no matter how far you go or evolve, you'll always have these glimmers of the past. You'll always be reminded. Even though it's over now, I will always be reminded in Jessamine. So
Okay.
it's like they either haunt you or they make you smile, but they never go away. Yeah. So that was my kind of extraction from it. I
That
don't
was
know
your
if anybody else
takeaway?
noticed. If anybody else notices similarities between songs, please let me know. There was a couple. I think there was a couple in Look to Windward that I didn't pick up on, but I saw scrolling through TikTok. So
Okay.
I just love that shit, man. I just love that shit. It's so good.
I really hope that the vocal melody of Past Self is actually a reference or an interpolation, and then it comes out because I need to be proven right on this one. It's so,
I want you to
like,
be
I
right.
felt like I knew it. I felt like I, like, had heard this before
Mm.
in a way, which is, I mean, iconic. And if they released this song and, like, only mentioned the Fairy Fountain reference because people called it out, but nobody called out this other reference, it would be kind of fierce if they just didn't say anything about it.
Yeah, they're just like, "None of
Duh,
your
whatever.
business. None of
I'm
your
gonna find it.
business."
I'm going to find it, and I'm gonna send it to you, and it's gonna blow your mind. It's gonna happen.
Alright, I hope you do.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
No, that was basically all I had to say. Even in Arcadia, I wish I could go to, like, a studio, or I wish I had those, like, over-the-ear headphones, or just somewhere where I could be in, like, a room with the best sound system. Like, I wish I could, like, rent out an IMAX theater just to be like, "Yo, let's listen to the Sleep Token album," because my AirPods my soundbar does an okay job, but I'm still very worried that I play my music too loud for my neighbors, and I don't wanna be that neighbor, but I just wanna be in a room where I can hear, even in Arcadia, that song. I don't know what they put into that song, but it's like it's almost like the same feeling that I got when I listened to Atlantic for the first time. It's also a Sleep Token song. And it just, like, when it finishes the intro and it does that, like, pulse sound, when I first heard that, I was, like, smoking a J. And I was just like I was unexpected and it happened, and I was like, "It's crazy." Music is so
Mind
fucking
blown.
powerful and mind-blowing. I think that's why I get so upset or, like, I take bad reviews of things that I like personally when it comes to music, because it's like, "Bro, what do you mean you don't feel that in your soul, in your chest? You don't get goosebumps. Your hairs don't raise when you hear certain melodies or songs that just, like, bring back memories of other things, or I just how?"
Yeah, no, and this album definitely has that quality of, like, sending shivers down your spine, kind of a quality to it. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I feel like, and perhaps this is just, like, something that can't happen because of, like, budget or what have you, but I do feel like this would be an extremely powerful visual album. Like, if every
Oh,
song had a
yeah.
visual that went with it, it would be really powerful. So, like, I hope they do release some music videos.
I think I think they have, like, a graphic novel. I know it's not a visual album, but it's I think they have, like, a graphic novel series? Someone correct me on
Okay,
that.
that's fierce.
I feel like I've seen something kind of that nature for, like, lore and stuff.
Interesting, okay. See, like, a visual album like Beyoncé did, where every
Yeah.
song had I feel like this could be, like, a solid hour-long, like, feature film that doesn't really even have any lines other than the lyrics, you know what I mean?
The amount of, like, digital effects you would probably have to use, though, and it would probably be, like, a budget thing, for sure. Because like, how would you
Yeah.
recoup that cost?
Well, yeah, especially if you're just releasing it on YouTube or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
sure, ad revenue is not that bad, but it's not that good either.
Oh, yeah, sounds like artist.
So, but no, I think the album is successful. I definitely stand with my 4 out of 5 stars. I might even say 4.5 out of 5 stars, to be honest with you. I think
They
it's
got half a
really,
rating. Wow.
I
I did
think it's
half a
really
rating.
thoughtful. The writing of it is you described it to me as it's poetry, and I definitely see that it is in fact poetry.
Mhm. It's also like
So,
this album felt way less horny than the other albums
okay.
to me. Like, obviously, Provider was, I wanna be your like, that's the horny song on the album, and I guess even in Arcadia could be too, but like, they have just such other hornier songs. Like, I kinda wanna show
Yeah.
them to you. It's very, like this album was for, like, the dark romanticy girls. I think Sleep Token as a band, as a concept, is is for, like, the dark romanticy girls. It just goes together so well. It hits all the boxes,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I could definitely see, like, the entire album being the soundtrack to some sort of film. Yeah,
Some sort of, like
100%. What was it about teenage young adult romanticy/romantic comedy TV series specifically that just, like, popped off? Because, like, I can think of, like, Vampire Diaries,
Supernatural, Teen Wolf, The OC.
Supernatural, Teen Wolf, The OC, even The Hills, like, the ones that were a little bit more reality TV based, had,
Mhm.
like, this romance kind of aspect to them that they always focused on, and, like, the music in all of those shows was poppin'.
Whoever was doing the music behind them all really did a good fucking job. I don't know. I mean, I have never seen The Hills personally, but The OC I have seen countless times. I have all of the seasons on DVD box set, and I watch the New Year's episode every single New Year's, thinking
Really?
that one day there will be a Ryan Atwood running to come kiss me right when the countdown comes, but it has never happened and it never will. But it's okay. A girl can dream.
Manifesting, there's nothing wrong with that.
A girl can dream. A girl can dream. It's just so silly. It's just so silly.
Alright, well, I appreciate you sharing Sleep Token with me because, like, I would consider myself a new fan. I will listen.
Amazing. Now I can just send you more Sleep Token songs and memes. Yeah.
True. Alright. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Remember, you can check us out at PremoDonnas.com for more content, and you can also view us on YouTube. You can listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and anywhere else you listen to podcasts.
If you like this episode, do us a favor and leave a rating or share it with your friends. Ratings do help us. Liking and subscribing also helps us. Getting these vanity metrics up will help with future opportunities. So if you want to see us succeed, that would be awesome. Thank you, and we love you. See you in the next one.